Chapter 3. Nebuchadnezzar, the king, made an image of gold, 60 cubits high and 6 cubits wide. He set it up in the plain of Dura, in the province of Babylon. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king summoned together the princes, the governors, the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, and the sheriffs, all the officials in the provinces, to come to the dedication of the image which King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then the princes, the governors, the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, and the sheriffs, all the officials in the provinces, assembled together for the dedication of the image that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then a herald made this loud proclamation.
To you it is commanded, O peoples, nations, and languages, that at the time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and every kind of music, you are to fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. Whoever does not fall down and worship will be thrown into the midst of a burning fiery furnace in the same hour.
Therefore, at the time they heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and every kind of music, all the peoples, nations, and languages fell down and worshiped the golden image that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then at that time, certain Chaldeans came forward and accused the Yadayim. They spoke and said to King Nebuchadnezzar,
O king, live forever.
You, O king, have made a decree that every man who hears the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music must fall down and worship the golden image. And whoever does not fall down and worship, he is to be thrown into the midst of a burning fiery furnace.
Now there are certain Hebrews whom you have set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who, O king, pay no attention to you.
True.
They do not serve your gods, nor do they worship the golden image which you have set up.
Yes, O king.
Then Nebuchadnezzar was enraged and in fury commanded that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be brought to him.
Bring them out.
So they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spoke and said to them,
Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now, if you are prepared to fall down and worship the image which I have set up, at the time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and every kind of music, then it will be well with you. But if you refuse to worship, you will be thrown into the midst of a burning fiery furnace in the same hour. And what God is it that will deliver you out of my hands?
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered King Nebuchadnezzar and said,
There is no need for us to answer you cautiously in this matter, for if we are thrown into the burning fiery furnace, our Father whom we serve is able to deliver us, and may he deliver us from your hands, O king.
But if he will not, may it also be known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods, nor worship the golden image which you have set up.
Then Nebuchadnezzar was filled with fury, and the form of his attitude changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He spoke and commanded that they were to heat the furnace 7 times hotter than it was normally heated.
7 times.
He then commanded the strongest men in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and throw them into the burning fiery furnace. Then the 3 men were bound with their coats, their trousers, their hats, and their other garments still on, and were thrown into the midst of the burning fiery furnace, because the king's orders were so insistent and the furnace so excessively heated. The flaming fire killed those men who carried Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego up to it. Yet these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, still bound, fell down into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then King Nebuchadnezzar was amazed and rose up hastily and spoke, saying to his counselors,
Did we not throw 3 men, firmly bound, into the midst of the fire?
They answered and said to the king,
True, O king.
The king responded and said,
Look, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they are unharmed. And the 4th one looks like a son of the gods.
Then Nebuchadnezzar approached the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and said,
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come.
Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out of the midst of the fire. Then the princes, governors, captains, and the king's counselors gathered around and saw that the fire did not have any power over the bodies of these men. The hair of their heads was not singed, their coats were not scorched, and even the smell of smoke did not come upon them. Then Nebuchadnezzar spoke and said,
Blessed be the Most High God, whom Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego serve, who has sent his Malach and delivered his servants who trusted in him. Disobeying the king's command, they yielded their bodies that they might not serve nor worship any god except their own God. Therefore, I issue this decree that any people, nation, or language which speaks anything derogatory against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego will be cut into pieces, and their houses will be made into piles of rubble, for there is no other God who can deliver like this.
Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon,